Hey guys, welcome back. Tonight, we're not rushing through history. We're letting it slow down with us. Tonight, we're drifting across thousands of quiet years, from the first stone tools pressed into damp earth, to ancient paths worn smooth by human footsteps, to civilizations that rose, breathed, and gently faded without ever needing to shout. This is not a story of battles or kings. It's the entire history told softly enough to fall asleep to. We'll wander through long-forgotten nights, listen to the rhythm of early human life, feel the patience of time itself, and discover how even the greatest chapters of the past eventually learned how to rest. Nothing here moves fast. Nothing here demands your attention. This is history as a calm presence, steady, slow, and deeply human. So before you get comfortable, take a gentle moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if these deep sleep history stories help you find peace, sleep better, or simply reflect on our shared journey through time. Now, close your eyes. Let your breathing soften. Let the centuries fade into a quiet background, and allow the past to carry you slowly and safely into sleep. Let your mind drift backward now, far beyond memory, beyond maps, beyond the weight of names and dates, to a time before emperors, before marble cities, before the word Rome ever shaped the world. You are not rushing anywhere. There is no urgency here. You are simply floating gently into a land that breathes slowly, patiently, as though it has all the time in the world. As your eyes rest and your breathing softens, the ancient Italian peninsula unfolds beneath you, not as a stage for conquest, but as a quiet landscape shaped by hills, forests, and a single river that moves like a lullaby. The Tiber flows without ambition, curving through low valleys and mist-covered banks, its surface reflecting pale dawn light that never asks to be brighter. Each ripple carries the rhythm of life long before history learned to shout. Along its edges, small communities live without walls or crowns, without banners or monuments, guided instead by the seasons, the soil beneath their feet, and the steady return of the sun. You can almost feel the damp earth under bare soles, cool and grounding as people wake with the light and rest when darkness arrives. Fires are lit carefully as evening falls, their glow warm but never harsh, flickering against simple shelters built from wood, clay, and patience. There is no noise here beyond what nature allows, the hush of wind through leaves, the distant call of birds settling for the night, the soft crackle of embers as they surrender to ash. The Etruscans and the early Latin tribes do not yet know they will one day be remembered. They are not building for eternity, they are living quietly, fully in the present moment. Crops are planted not to dominate the land, but to cooperate with it. Animals move freely through open spaces, and humans move with them, not above them. Time does not race forward here. It circles gently, like the river itself, returning again and again to familiar rhythms. As you listen, the Tiber becomes more than water. It becomes breath.
Each slow movement against stone mirrors the rise and fall of your chest. Each gentle current carries another day away, not lost, but completed. Night arrives without resistance, laying a blanket of darkness over hills and forests, inviting rest rather than fear. You are safe here. History has not yet learned violence on a grand scale. Power has not yet demanded attention. This is a world where existence is enough, where silence is not emptiness, but comfort. As your thoughts loosen their grip, allow this quiet past to cradle you. Let the river speak softly, not with words, but with rhythm. This is where the story begins, not with thunder or triumph, but with stillness. And in that stillness, sleep comes naturally, gently, as it always has, long before empires dreamed of being remembered.
As the night settles more deeply, the land beside the river begins to feel older, heavier with memory, yet softer in its silence. This is a world that does not hurry toward tomorrow. The hills do not compete with one another for height, and the river does not rush to prove its strength. Everything moves at the pace of necessity, nothing more. In this long before written words shaped thought, people understood the land not as territory, but as companion. The soil was not owned, it was listened to. Seasons were not tracked by numbers, but by subtle shifts in light, by the way fog clung longer to the riverbanks, by the scent of damp leaves underfoot. As you rest here, time stretches, becoming wide and forgiving. Days blend gently into nights, and nights return calmly into dawn. Small fires glow once more as darkness thickens, not as symbols of power, but as points of warmth against the vast quiet. Shadows dance on the edges of simple dwellings, moving slowly, never sharp, never threatening. These early people do not fear the dark as something hostile. Night is familiar. It is when stories are shared softly, when hands rest, when bodies recover from the work of living. There is no history to record here, only memory carried through voices, through gestures, through repetition. The river continues its patient journey, carrying reflections of stars that shimmer briefly and then dissolve, just as thoughts do when sleep approaches. You may notice how the sounds fade one by one, leaving only the most essential rhythm behind. The breeze slows, the insects grow quieter, even the water seems to hush itself, flowing with careful restraint. This is not emptiness, this is fullness without noise. Long before roads cut through the land, before stone cities demanded permanence, people lived in cycles of making and unmaking, building and returning. Nothing was meant to last forever, and nothing needed to. This understanding created a gentleness that modern time has forgotten. As you breathe, the ancient world breathes with you. Inhale slowly, as though drawing in the scent of earth and wood smoke. Exhale gently, releasing the tension of centuries that have not yet happened. Here there is no empire waiting to rise. There is only land resting beneath moonlight, rivers remembering their own paths, and human lives woven quietly into the landscape. This is the beginning before beginnings, where history sleeps alongside you, not demanding attention, not asking to be understood, only inviting you to rest within its calm. Let your thoughts loosen further now. Let the quiet stretch on without expectation. The land has existed without names, without borders,
without urgency, and it welcomes you to do the same, just for this moment, as sleep draws nearer, unhurried and kind.
Now the night has fully settled in, not suddenly, not dramatically, but with the quiet certainty of something that belongs. The land no longer resists the darkness, it welcomes it. Moonlight drapes softly across the hills, turning familiar shapes into gentle silhouettes, smoothing every edge, removing anything sharp or demanding. The river continues to flow, but even it seems to move more slowly now, as though respecting the stillness around it. This is the hour when the world feels suspended between breaths, when nothing needs to happen next. Long before cities rose and fell, long before stone roads etched permanence into the earth, nights like this passed unnoticed, unrecorded, yet deeply lived. People rest now, bodies curled close to warmth, minds drifting without direction. Dreams begin quietly, shaped by flickering firelight and the memory of the day's simple motions. There is no sense of urgency carried into sleep. Tomorrow will arrive whether it is invited or not. The land understands this, and so do the people who belong to it. As you remain here listening, you may sense how history itself feels different at this distance. It is not a sequence of events or a march toward power. It is a slow accumulation of lived moments, most of them never remembered by name. The Etruscans, the early Latins, and countless others whose identities have faded into the soil do not yet know that future generations will search for their traces. They are simply present. They breathe. They sleep. The river carries reflections of stars once more, each one trembling briefly before dissolving into darkness, leaving no record of having been there at all. This gentle disappearance is not loss, it is completion. Just as thoughts dissolve when rest deepens, so too do these ancient moments fade without regret. Wind moves softly through grasses near the water's edge, bending them just enough to remind the land that it is alive. Somewhere an animal shifts in the dark, then stills again. The world does not announce itself. It does not need witnesses. In this deep night, you are not observing history, you are resting within it. The quiet becomes expansive, wrapping around you, loosening the final tension held in your shoulders, your jaw, your thoughts. Each breath grows slower, heavier, more certain. You are carried not forward, but inward, into a space where time has little meaning. This is how the story prepares to continue, not by pulling you awake, but by allowing you to sink further into calm. Beyond this moment, centuries will pass, villages will grow, power will gather, names will be carved into stone. But none of that exists yet. For now, there is only land beneath moonlight, a river moving in its sleep, and the shared rhythm of rest connecting you to a world long gone and yet strangely familiar. Stay here a little longer. Let the darkness hold you gently. The past is not rushing ahead. It is waiting, patiently, as sleep carries you onward, deeper, quieter, ready to open the next chapter only when you are fully at rest. Imagine you are dreaming now. Not the kind of dream that rushes or startles, but one that unfolds slowly, like mist lifting from a quiet river at dawn. In this dream, time has softened its edges. Events do not press forward, they drift. The world feels hushed, attentive, as though it knows something important is about to begin, but chooses silence instead of noise. The river is there first, wide and patient, carrying moonlight on its surface as easily as it carries leaves and fallen branches. Upon that water,
Almost unnoticed, a small wooden basket moves with the current, guided not by hands, but by fate that does not yet know its own name. Inside the basket, 2 infants sleep, their breathing light, their faces calm, unaware that stories will one day gather around them. The river does not hurry them along. The wind does not disturb their rest. Everything conspires gently to protect this moment. Along the bank, reeds sway, and stones warm slowly from the last traces of night. When the basket touches land, it does so without drama, as if it has always belonged there. From the shadows of the forest, a presence approaches, not with menace, but with instinct older than words. A she-wolf, drawn not by hunger, but by recognition, finds the sleeping children. In this dream-like telling, she is not fierce, she is careful. She lowers her head, listens to their breath, and settles beside them as though the forest itself has decided to keep watch. Milk is given, warmth is shared, night passes, days follow, uncounted, unmarked, flowing as smoothly as the river nearby. The children grow in rhythm with the land, learning not from books or laws, but from birdsong, from changing light, from the way water carves its path without force. Romulus and Remus are not heroes yet, they are simply alive, shaped by the quiet strength of hills and the constancy of the river. As years pass within the dream, the forest gives way to clearings, and the clearings to open views of sky. The boys become young men, carrying with them a sense of belonging that has no boundaries. When the idea of building emerges, it does so gently, like a thought forming just before sleep deepens. A village, nothing more, wooden shelters, smoke that rises thin and pale into morning air. You are there too, lying upon one of the 7 hills, feeling the ground steady beneath you, watching life gather without urgency. There is no empire in sight, no banners, no marble, no crowds, only a settlement learning to breathe, to listen, to exist beside the river that began the dream. Voices are low, movements are unhurried. The myth does not shout its meaning, it whispers it, inviting you to rest inside the idea that great things often begin not with conquest, but with care, not with certainty, but with sleep. This is Roman mythology before it hardened into legend, the founding of Rome before it demanded remembrance. It is bedtime history at its gentlest, a sleep-inducing history where even destiny moves softly so as not to wake those who are still dreaming.
As the dream continues, it does not sharpen or brighten, it deepens. The forest breathes more slowly now, and the river seems to listen as much as it moves. Romulus and Remus grow side by side, not pushed forward by destiny, but carried by it, like leaves resting on water rather than racing downstream. Their days are shaped by simple repetitions, walking familiar paths, watching animals move without ownership, learning where shade lingers longest and where the ground stays warm after sunset. They learn the language of the land without ever naming it. The river teaches them patience, returning each morning unchanged, never insisting on progress. The hills teach them steadiness, holding their shape through wind and rain without complaint. In this gentle world, brotherhood forms quietly. There is no rivalry yet, no fracture, no need to stand apart. They share the same sky at night, counting nothing, listening to the same insects, feeling the same earth beneath their rest. Dreams come easily to them, filled not with visions of power, but with images of movement and return. As they wake, those dreams fade without urgency, leaving behind only a sense that life unfolds best when it is not forced. Time passes in the way sleep passes, unnoticed until it is already gone. The boys become men without ceremony. Strength appears gradually, shaped by lifting, walking, building small things that serve immediate needs. When others begin to gather near the river, it feels less like an arrival and more like a convergence. People recognize the safety of the hills, the generosity of the water, the calm that settles over the land at dusk. Stories are shared softly, often changing as they pass from voice to voice, not meant to be preserved exactly, only to be felt. In this version of Roman mythology, meaning is fluid. Nothing is fixed yet. Even the idea of a city remains distant, more sensation than plan. One evening, as the sky darkens in familiar layers, Romulus and Remus rest upon a hillside and look down toward the river's curve. Smoke rises thinly from a few fires below, dissolving into the air before it can linger. There is comfort in this simplicity. No walls divide space, no names divide people. The land holds everyone equally. If there are signs from the gods, they are subtle, arriving as shifts in wind, as birds changing direction, as silence falling more deeply than expected. These are not commands, they are invitations. The brothers feel them without needing to interpret them. In this bedtime history, destiny does not announce itself. It hums softly in the background, like the sound of water moving over stone, constant but easy to ignore. As night deepens, the dream slows further. The stars above feel closer, not as distant markers of fate, but as quiet companions. The river reflects them briefly, then lets them go. Romulus and Remus do the same, releasing thoughts as sleep approaches. There is no decision yet, no division, only the shared experience of being alive at the edge of something unnamed. This is the founding of Rome before conflict, before remembrance hardened into ritual. It is sleep-inducing history at its calmest, where brotherhood exists without test, and the future waits patiently, unwilling to interrupt the rest of those who are not yet ready to wake. As the dream reaches its quiet edge, it does not break, it settles. The night remains calm, but something subtle shifts beneath the stillness, not as conflict, not as urgency, but as awareness. Romulus and Remus lie beneath the open sky, their breathing slow, their thoughts drifting like clouds that do not need to form shapes. The land around them feels unchanged, yet gently more awake, as though it senses the weight of time beginning to gather. The river continues its soft movement, but now it carries echoes of footsteps, of voices that linger a moment longer before fading. This is not the sound of destiny calling, it is simply life noticing itself. In this final movement of the chapter, difference begins not as division, but as perspective. The brothers look upon the same hills, the same curve of water, the same rising smoke, and feel slightly different responses, neither stronger nor weaker, just distinct. One feels drawn to boundaries that offer protection, to shapes that remain. The other feels drawn to openness, to flow, to the freedom of movement. Neither is right, neither is wrong. In the language of sleep-inducing history, this is how change begins, not with thunder, but with a quiet divergence of thought. The stars above do not react. The land does not choose sides. The river does not pause to judge. Everything continues as it always has, offering space for both stillness and motion. As the night deepens, the brothers drift closer to rest, carrying these gentle differences without tension. Dreams return, softer now, less vivid, as though the mind is preparing to let go. In those dreams, the city remains unfinished, a suggestion rather than a structure. Wooden roofs appear and dissolve. Paths form and fade. Nothing insists on permanence. This is Roman mythology in its most human form, not a declaration of power, but a meditation on beginnings. The founding of Rome is still far away from walls and names. It exists here as a breath held gently between sleep and waking. You too are part of this stillness, resting within the moment before definition. There is no need to follow the story forward yet. The night has done its work. The dream has carried you through care, brotherhood, and quiet awareness, and now it loosens its grip. As your breathing slows further, allow this chapter to close without resolution. Tomorrow, in the language of history, will bring choices and change, but tonight belongs to rest. The land settles, the river flows, the myth exhales, and in that shared exhale, sleep deepens, unbroken, ready to carry you onward when the next chapter opens, softly, patiently, without ever needing to wake you fully.
Listen closely now, not for excitement, not for drama, but for rhythm. You find yourself inside a wide stone chamber, cool even in the warmth of the day, where sound does not rush but settles. This is the Roman Senate, not at a moment of crisis, but during one of its many ordinary sessions, the kind that stretches gently across hours, then days, then years, until time itself seems to soften. The Roman Republic has begun not with spectacle, but with procedure. Men in pale togas sit in long rows, their garments draped carefully, their movements deliberate and unhurried. One by one they rise, one by one they speak. Their voices are not raised, they do not compete. Each sentence flows into the next, like water poured at a steady pace, never spilling, never splashing. You are seated at the back of the chamber, your shoulders resting against cool stone, your breathing already beginning to slow. The words reach you not as meaning, but as sound. Discussions of roads, of grain, of distant borders arrive gently, stripped of urgency. Arguments repeat themselves, not because they must persuade, but because repetition is the nature of this place. The Republic governs itself through patience. Time is spent carefully here, almost generously. The stone walls absorb echoes, smoothing them into something uniform and distant. The voices of senators overlap just enough to lose their edges, forming a soft layer of sound that drifts through the chamber like warm air. This is Roman Republic explained not through conflict, but through endurance. Law is not thunder, it is drizzle. Speech follows speech, each one long, measured, respectful of form. Even disagreement unfolds slowly, wrapped in ritual and courtesy. As you listen, the content begins to matter less than the cadence. Words become patterns. Patterns become comfort. This is boring history to fall asleep in the best possible sense. A history that does not demand attention, only presence. Hours pass without announcement. Light shifts across the chamber floor, marking time more reliably than any clock. Some senators adjust their posture. Others close their eyes briefly, not in disrespect, but in familiarity. This is how governance happens here, through persistence rather than passion. Outside, the city moves quietly, but inside these walls, the Republic breathes in long, steady intervals. Taxes are debated, infrastructure is discussed, campaigns are mentioned without urgency as distant matters that will unfold when they are ready. There are no crescendos, no sudden turns,
only the steady hum of voices layered over one another. You feel your own thoughts begin to drift, unhooking from detail. The chamber's coolness seeps into your muscles, easing tension you did not realize you were holding. This is calm history for sleep, where the machinery of power operates not as spectacle, but as background noise. The Senate does not rush because it does not need to. Decisions will come eventually. For now, there is time. The repetition, the formality, the predictability all work together, creating a rhythm as reliable as breathing. As your eyes grow heavier, the words blur further, becoming indistinct waves of sound. You are still present, still listening, but no longer alert. The Roman Republic continues speaking, carefully, endlessly, and you are allowed to rest within its measured pace, letting deep sleep history carry you gently forward without ever needing to wake you.
The meeting continues, not because it must, but because continuation itself is the Republic's natural state. No one announces a turning point, no voice signals an ending. The senators remain seated, rising only when form requires it, settling back into place as though the stone benches have shaped their posture over years of repetition. You begin to notice how time behaves differently here. It does not advance in straight lines, it circles. Arguments return in slightly altered forms, familiar enough to feel safe, distant enough to feel new. A point about taxation echoes one made earlier, not in contradiction, but in harmony. Roads are discussed again, their maintenance framed almost identically to yesterday and the day before. This is not inefficiency, it is rhythm. The Roman Republic sustains itself through cycles of speech, each one smoothing the edges of the last. You lean further back against the wall, feeling its cool certainty. The stone does not change, the voices do, but only subtly, rising and falling like breath. As the hours stretch, your awareness loosens. You are no longer tracking who speaks or why. The cadence has taken over. Long sentences drift across the chamber, their beginnings forgotten before their endings arrive. This is calm history for sleep, where governance becomes a kind of lullaby, repetitive and reliable. Even pauses are predictable. A senator clears his throat, another adjusts his toga. Silence briefly settles, then gently recedes as speech resumes. Nothing breaks the flow. Outside, the light has shifted again, casting softer shadows across the chamber floor. But inside, the atmosphere remains unchanged. The Republic prefers continuity over surprise. Decisions will be made eventually, but not now. Now is for deliberation without urgency. You realize that this system is designed not to excite, but to endure. Passion would disrupt it, speed would fracture it. Slowness keeps it intact. In this way, Roman Republic Explained becomes less about structure and more about sensation. The sensation of waiting, of listening without expectation, of trusting that things unfold best when they are not rushed. Your breathing synchronizes with the environment. Inhale as a voice rises, exhale as it fades. The words themselves soften further, losing definition, blending into a gentle murmur. This is boring history to fall asleep, not because it lacks meaning, but because its meaning does not demand attention. It allows the mind to drift safely. You may sense your thoughts wandering to unrelated places, then returning briefly, then wandering again. The Senate does not mind. It continues speaking regardless of your focus. That is its gift. The repetition creates space for rest. As the session drags on, some senators seem almost sculptural, their forms unchanged, their presence more symbolic than active. They have spoken these words before, and they will speak them again.
The Republic is not in a hurry to be remembered. It exists to function. The cool air, the steady voices, the predictability of form all combine into a single experience, one that feels less like history and more like atmosphere. This is deep sleep history, where the mind can let go without losing connection. You remain seated, supported by stone, surrounded by sound that asks nothing of you. The meeting continues, looping gently, and you are free to sink deeper into rest, knowing that nothing here will suddenly change, nothing will demand your alertness, and the steady rhythm of the Republic will carry you quietly towards sleep. By now, the meeting no longer feels like an event. It feels like a condition, something that exists quietly in the background of the world, neither beginning nor ending. The Roman Senate continues its careful rhythm, voices rising and falling with such predictability that even time seems to relax its grip. You are still seated at the back, though the sense of you has softened. Awareness drifts in and out, like light passing behind clouds. The stone chamber remains cool, unchanged, faithful to its purpose. Words continue to flow, but they no longer arrive as sentences. They arrive as sound, as texture, as presence. This is where the Roman Republic truly reveals itself, not as a dramatic struggle for power, but as an endurance of patience. Decisions are postponed, not out of indecision, but out of trust in process. Nothing here demands haste. Even urgency is treated with ceremony, wrapped in layers of speech until it loses its sharpness. You notice how the senators themselves seem less like individuals and more like elements of the room, extensions of the benches they sit upon, voices shaped by stone and tradition. Their gestures are minimal, their expressions rarely change. This constancy is soothing. It tells you that nothing unexpected will happen. The Republic prefers stability over surprise, repetition over resolution. Outside, entire days may pass, but inside this chamber, the atmosphere barely shifts. Lamps are lit as light fades, shadows deepen, but the cadence remains the same. Speech follows speech, pause follows pause, and the mind naturally begins to mirror this pattern. Thoughts slow, connections loosen. The effort to follow meaning dissolves without resistance. This is boring history to fall asleep at its most effective, where governance becomes background sound, like rain against distant stone. You are not required to understand. You are not required to remember. The Republic carries that burden for you. In this space, calm history for sleep is not created by silence alone, but by consistency. The predictability of the voices, the ritual of turn-taking, the unchanging temperature of the room all signal safety. Nothing here will rush you. Nothing will surprise you awake. The meeting stretches on, not endlessly, but comfortably, like a long evening with no obligations. Even disagreement, when it appears, is softened by repetition and form, rendered harmless by familiarity. The senators speak as they always have, and will continue to speak, regardless of who listens. This continuity is what allows rest. As your breathing deepens, the chamber seems to recede slightly, as though you are sinking into the stone itself. Sound becomes distant, muffled, like hearing through layers of fabric. The Republic continues its work without you. That is its strength. It does not require your attention to function. It asks only that you remain, or sleep, or drift. In this final movement of the chapter, delay is no longer an obstacle. It is the state of being. Waiting is not frustration, but comfort. Time does not push forward, it rests.
And as the voices continue their steady murmur, you are gently carried into deep sleep history, where the past no longer speaks in words, but in rhythm, and where rest becomes the most natural response of all. Let your mind walk now, not toward battle, not toward noise or triumph, but along a road that stretches calmly into the distance. The Roman road lies before you, straight and patient, stones fitted together with care, worn smooth by countless footsteps that came before. You are not rushing, neither are the soldiers beside you. The Roman Empire expands not in sudden bursts here, but through repetition, through endurance, through days that resemble one another so closely they begin to blur. Armor rests on shoulders, shields hang at familiar angles, and feet meet stone with a steady, unchanging rhythm. Step after step, the sound is almost hypnotic. It does not demand attention, it invites it to fade. The sky above is wide and unmoving, its color shifting slowly as hours pass, offering no urgency, no signal to hurry. This is Roman Empire expansion seen from far away, stripped of banners and commands, reduced to motion itself. Marching becomes a form of breathing. Inhale, step, exhale, step. The land changes gradually. Fields give way to low hills. Hills soften into coastal paths, and eventually the scent of salt arrives, carried gently on the wind long before the sea is visible. When the Mediterranean finally appears, it does not announce itself dramatically. It is simply there, endless and calm, waves repeating the same movement they have always known. Soldiers walk beside it without comment. The sea does not impress them, it soothes them. Camps are set as they always are. Tents rise quietly. Fires are lit with practiced hands. The routine repeats without variation. Eat, rest, sleep. The empire grows not because of excitement, but because of this unbroken rhythm. You walk with them, but you feel no weight. The march does not tire you. You are only aware of sound, wind brushing fabric, waves folding onto shore, the low murmur of a camp settling for the night. Darkness arrives gently, wrapping the coastline in soft shadow. Stars appear one by one, reflected faintly in the water, then broken again by waves that do not care to remember them. This is relaxing history narration at its purest, where movement replaces drama and repetition replaces fear. Even conquest feels distant here, almost theoretical. From this vantage, history is not loud, it is long. The road continues tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. Nothing needs to change quickly. The empire understands patience. As you listen, your own thoughts begin to march more slowly. Each idea takes its place, then quietly steps aside. There is nothing to solve, nothing to anticipate. The steady rhythm does the work for you. The Mediterranean night breathes evenly. Canvas tents shift softly in the breeze. Somewhere, water laps against stone in the same pattern it followed yesterday and will follow again tomorrow. You are not meant to stay awake for this. This long sleep story does not rush toward an ending. It stretches, calmly, carrying you forward without effort. As footsteps fade into memory and the road continues on without you, your mind drifts away from the march and into rest, knowing that the Empire will keep walking, whether you watch it or not.
As the march fades into evening, the movement of the day gently dissolves into stillness. The Roman camp rises almost by memory alone, each action repeated so many times that thought is no longer required. Tents are unfolded and lifted into place with slow confidence, canvas stretching and settling as if it knows exactly where it belongs. Fires are kindled without urgency, small flames catching and growing steady, their light soft and low, never meant to dazzle. Around you, the Mediterranean air cools slightly, carrying the scent of salt and ash together, blending land and sea into a single breath. This is where the Roman Empire truly expands, not in battle, but in routine. Each night mirrors the last. Each camp feels familiar before it is fully formed. Soldiers sit quietly, armor loosened, bodies resting into the ground beneath them. Voices are low, rarely rising above a murmur. Conversation drifts and fades without needing conclusion. Beyond the camp, the sea continues its endless pattern, waves folding and unfolding with the same patient rhythm they have always followed. The sound travels easily in the night, smoothing thought, flattening edges. You notice how darkness here is not empty. It is full of gentle motion. Canvas shifts, firewood settles. Somewhere, a distant shorebird calls once, then falls silent. Nothing interrupts the calm. This is Mediterranean history for sleep, where even the presence of an empire feels distant and subdued. The camp exists not to impress, but to rest. As the hours pass, the fire burns lower, embers glowing steadily, no longer flickering. Shadows stretch and soften, losing definition. Soldiers lie back, gazing briefly at the sky, then letting their eyes close without ceremony. Sleep arrives without resistance. The same will happen tomorrow. March, camp, fire, rest. The repetition is comforting. It removes uncertainty. There are no surprises here. Even conquest feels secondary to continuity. You remain among them, but untouched by fatigue. The sounds become fewer, simpler. Wind against fabric, water against stone, breath against night air. This long sleep story does not move forward quickly. It settles in layers, each one quieter than the last. The empire grows because it does not rush its nights. It allows darkness to complete its work. As your awareness softens, the camp recedes, becoming less a place and more a sensation, warmth, steadiness, rhythm. You do not need to follow the road anymore. The road will wait. For now, there is only rest, the sea breathing beside you, and the quiet certainty that tomorrow will arrive gently, just as sleep does now.
By the final hours of the night, the camp no longer feels like a place built by hands. It feels like something that has always been there, waiting quietly along the edge of the Mediterranean. The soldiers sleep without tension, bodies arranged naturally around dying fires, breaths deep and unmeasured. No one counts the hours, no one listens for signals. Time is no longer tracked by commands or schedules, but by sound. The sea has taken over that task. Each wave reaches the shore with the same unchanging patience, folding itself onto sand, then retreating again and again, never rushing, never pausing. The rhythm is ancient, older than the empire that now rests beside it. You lie within this rhythm, not watching, not listening closely, but allowing it to move through you. The road that carried the march has disappeared into darkness behind you. The shields, the armor, the weight of movement have softened into memory. What remains is repetition without effort. Breath aligns with water, stillness aligns with night. This is the Roman Empire expanding as it sleeps, spreading not through force in this moment, but through presence. Somewhere beyond the darkness, borders shift slowly, almost imperceptibly. But here, beside the sea, expansion feels less like motion and more like endurance. The Mediterranean does not change its tone to mark history. It continues as it always has, and the empire learns to move at its pace. Canvas tents rise and fall slightly with the breeze, echoing the waves. Ash settles, firelight fades completely, leaving only warmth without light. Stars above dim one by one as clouds drift through, but even the sky does not hurry. Nothing interrupts the flow. You realize that this is how vastness becomes manageable, how distance is crossed without strain, not by rushing forward, but by accepting repetition as comfort. The same road, the same camp, the same sea, night after night. This is relaxing history narration at its deepest level, where conquest dissolves into routine and power feels indistinguishable from patience. The soldiers do not dream of victory here. They dream of walking, of stopping, of sleeping, of waking again. Simple cycles repeat, soothing the mind through predictability. You feel your own thoughts loosen further, drifting like reflections on water that do not need to remain intact. There is no destination you must reach. The empire will continue its path without your attention. The sea will keep counting time for you. As this chapter closes, footsteps no longer echo. They dissolve into the steady hush of waves. The road rests, the camp rests. History itself seems to pause, breathing slowly beside you. In this pause, sleep deepens naturally, without effort, without instruction. The Mediterranean continues its endless motion, carrying the empire forward while you remain still, held gently in darkness, ready to be carried onward only when the next chapter opens, as quietly as the tide.
The name Julius Caesar often arrives with noise attached to it, with images of marching legions and clashing ambitions. But tonight, the name enters softly, like a line written in the margin of a long, patient book. You are not standing in a crowd. You are not watching a battle. You are seated somewhere quiet, perhaps at the edge of a camp at night, where the world has already decided to rest. Caesar appears not as a conqueror, but as a man who writes. He travels, slowly, deliberately, moving through landscapes that do not yet know how important they will seem later. In the evenings, when the camp settles and voices lower, he sits beneath torchlight that flickers gently, never bright enough to demand attention. He records what he sees without urgency: the curve of a river reflecting stars, the dark line of a forest against the sky, the way the wind moves through unfamiliar land. This is Julius Caesar history before it becomes legend, when power grows through observation rather than command.
Pages fill quietly, notes accumulate. Nothing changes all at once. Days pass, then months, then years, each marked by small choices that feel ordinary in the moment. Meetings are held, speeches are given, decisions are made and then revised. The Republic continues to function, but something in its rhythm begins to soften almost imperceptibly. Like a lamp turned down slightly, the light does not vanish, it dims. Caesar's influence expands not through spectacle, but through consistency. He is present, he listens, he remembers. In camps across Gaul, the night sky remains unchanged, indifferent to titles and offices. Soldiers sleep, fires burn low. The same stars appear, whether or not anyone is watching them closely. This is an ancient Rome sleep story told at the pace of breathing, where transformation does not arrive as a shock, but as a gradual adjustment of tone. You follow this change without effort, the way you notice evening becoming night without marking the exact moment. Caesar returns to Rome, leaves again, returns once more. Each arrival feels familiar, each departure expected. The city absorbs him quietly. The Senate debates continue, their voices steady, their forms intact, but the balance within them begins to shift, not violently, but subtly. Authority gathers the way dust gathers on a shelf, slowly, almost invisibly, until it is suddenly there. This is gentle history for sleep, where even the turning of eras happens without sound. You sense the Republic fading, not as an ending, but as a transition, like the final moments before sleep deepens. The oil in the lamp runs lower. The flame remains steady and calm. Caesar does not announce an empire. He inhabits a moment that is already changing. The night above Rome stays clear, streets quiet, breath remains even. As you listen, you are not asked to judge or remember details. You are invited only to observe, lightly, as history shifts its weight. Calm storytelling carries you forward, not toward drama, but toward understanding that some of the greatest changes happen when no one is looking closely, when the world is already half asleep.
As the nights continue, the presence of Caesar becomes less remarkable. Not because it is small, but because it is constant. Familiarity settles in quietly. His name appears more often in conversations, in letters, in decisions that seem routine on the surface. None of these moments announce themselves as turning points. They feel ordinary, almost forgettable. And yet, it is precisely through this repetition that change takes hold. Caesar attends meetings that resemble those before them. He listens to speeches that echo earlier arguments. He responds with calm, measured words that do not disrupt the flow. Authority does not arrive as a forceful entrance. It takes its seat and waits. The Republic continues to breathe, but its rhythm adjusts subtly, like a clock whose tempo has been slowed by a fraction too small to notice at first. You observe this from a distance that feels safe and unhurried. There is no urgency in your watching. Decisions are signed, then discussed, then referenced again days later. Each one is small enough to feel harmless. Together, they accumulate. This is Julius Caesar, history experienced not as drama, but as habit. Power becomes something people expect to be there. It is consulted, it is deferred to, it becomes part of the room. Even opposition softens, not through defeat, but through familiarity. The Senate still meets, rituals still unfold. The forms of the Republic remain intact, but the weight inside them shifts. Like furniture slowly rearranged in the dark, nothing looks different at a glance, yet the space no longer feels the same. Outside, Rome moves at its usual pace. Markets open, streets fill, then empty. Night returns, unchanged. Lamps glow behind windows. Caesar walks through the city not as a spectacle, but as a presence people recognize and then look past. This is ancient Rome's sleep story territory, where the extraordinary becomes background and the background becomes soothing. You sense the Republic dimming not as loss but as transition. The light remains, but it is steadier, lower, less flickering. Caesar's decisions feel increasingly inevitable, not because they are forced, but because they fit so smoothly into what already exists. Calm storytelling allows you to follow this without tension. There is no single moment you are meant to remember. The change does not require witnesses. It unfolds as nights pass, as breath remains even, as the city rests. Caesar writes again, now not only of landscapes, but of people, of processes, of outcomes that seem settled even before they are finalized. His notes are not proclamations, they are records, and records accumulate weight simply by existing. The Republic does not fall asleep abruptly. It drifts. It yields space gradually, like a shoreline reshaped by water that never strikes hard. You feel this shift the way you feel sleep approaching, not with alarm, but with acceptance. There is no resistance needed. Nothing here is loud. Nothing demands a response. The night remains calm. The sky remains unchanged. And as power becomes familiar, it also becomes quiet, blending into the steady background of life, allowing you to rest as history continues its gentle rearrangement. As the nights continue to pass, the change you have been following no longer feels like movement at all. It feels like settling. The Republic does not fall. It does not collapse or shatter. It simply grows quiet, like a room where conversation has slowly faded until only the presence of people remains. Julius Caesar does not announce an ending. He does not mark a beginning with ceremony. Instead, the light shifts almost imperceptibly, as though a lamp has been burning for a very long time and the oil has begun to run low. The flame does not flicker wildly. It steadies. It becomes smaller, warmer, closer. Caesar moves through Rome with the ease of familiarity. His name no longer carries tension. It rests. Decisions align with his presence naturally, not because they must, but because they already have been doing so for some time. The Senate continues to meet, voices calm, forms intact, but something essential has already changed. The center of gravity has moved, gently, without sound. This is Julius Caesar, history told in its quietest form, where transformation completes itself not with a moment, but with acceptance. You notice how the city itself seems to breathe differently now. Streets still fill and empty. Lamps still glow in windows. Night still arrives on time. But beneath these familiar patterns, there is a new stillness, a sense that direction no longer needs to be debated endlessly. Authority feels settled, like furniture that has finally been placed where it belongs. The Republic fades not into darkness, but into background, becoming part of the foundation upon which something new rests. This is an ancient Rome's sleep story, where endings do not disturb rest. Caesar's influence no longer feels like motion, it feels like atmosphere. The sky above Rome remains unchanged, stars tracing the same paths they always have. No omen announces what historians will later name. People sleep. Breath remains even. The oil lamp continues to burn, lower and lower, until its light becomes something you feel rather than see. Gentle history for sleep lives in this moment, where the mind is not asked to track events, but to sense continuity. The empire does not erupt into being, it settles into place. Calm storytelling carries you through this final transition without edges. You are not meant to remember dates or names here. You are meant to rest within the feeling of inevitability, the softness of completion. Caesar himself becomes less a figure and more a presence, woven into the fabric of the night. The Republic does not protest, it does not resist, it yields quietly, like consciousness yielding to sleep. And as the lamp's flame lowers to its last steady glow, nothing feels lost. Something has simply changed shape. The night remains calm, the city remains at rest, your breathing remains slow and even. History continues, but it no longer needs your attention. It carries itself forward while you drift deeper, knowing that some of the most profound endings happened without sound, without struggle, and without waking anyone at all. Now the world exhales. After centuries of movement, of adjustment, of quiet change, the Roman world enters a state that feels less like history unfolding and more like history resting. This is Pax Romana, often explained as peace, but peace here does not arise as silence or stillness, it arrives as balance. The empire does not fall asleep suddenly, it settles. Roads stretch calmly between cities, stone laid so carefully that footsteps barely echo. Merchants walk these roads without fear, their carts rolling at a patient pace, wheels turning with a sound so familiar it fades into the background. You hear voices, but they are unhurried, woven into daily life rather than rising above it. During the day, cities breathe steadily. Markets open and close, people speak, laugh, bargain, and move on. Nothing feels rushed, nothing feels suspended. Life continues with the confidence that tomorrow will resemble today. As evening approaches, the rhythm softens further. Lamps are lit one by one behind windows. Streets empty gradually, not all at once. The city does not shut down, it simply quiets. From above, Rome appears like a dark tapestry threaded with small, steady points of light, each one marking a household at rest. This is Pax Romana explained not through dates or decrees, but through sensation. Peace is not an announcement, it is a pattern repeated often enough to feel permanent. Far from the capital, the pace slows even more. In the provinces, time stretches gently. Fields wait under open sky. Vineyards follow the same cycles they always have. Water turns wooden wheels beside streams. The sound constant, dependable. Farmers rise, work, eat, and sleep. Then they rise again. Seasons change without drama. Harvest follows planting. Rest follows effort. This repetition does not dull the world, it steadies it. You begin to sense how this long calm reshapes thought itself. When conflict does not interrupt daily life, attention drifts inward. People plan less urgently. Worry loses its sharpness. The empire holds space for routine, and routine invites rest. This is peaceful history for sleep, where stability becomes the background against which everything else fades. Even governance quiets. Decisions are made, laws adjusted, but nothing disrupts the flow of ordinary days. Authority feels distant, abstract, present mostly in the fact that roads remain safe and nights remain uninterrupted. As you listen, your own breathing mirrors this environment, slow, even, predictable. Pax Romana becomes a kind of extended night, not dark, but dimly lit, where nothing demands awakening. Deep sleep history does not require absence of sound, it requires continuity. The continuity of footsteps on stone, of water on wood, of lamps burning low and steady. You do not need to remember names here. You do not need to track events. The story carries itself. Like a whispered narration, it flows at a pace that allows the mind to let go. The empire rests not because nothing happens, but because what happens follows a familiar shape. And as this shape repeats, your awareness softens, settling into the same calm that stretched across Roman lands for generations, long enough to feel endless, long enough to feel like night itself. As the long peace continues, night begins to feel less like a pause between days and more like the natural condition of the world. Across the Roman lands, darkness no longer carries uncertainty. It arrives gently, expected, welcomed. In cities large and small, the same quiet rituals repeat. Doors close softly. Lamps are adjusted lower. Voices drop to murmurs and then to silence. Streets empty not because of fear, but because rest has become routine. This is Pax Romana explained through evenings rather than events. The empire does not need to remain awake to assert itself. It is already there. In distant provinces, far from Rome's marble and noise, night settles even deeper. Villages rest early. Fields stretch under moonlight, unchanged, patient. A stream turns a mill wheel slowly, steadily, the sound almost indistinguishable from breath. Animals lie still. Houses hold warmth. The world feels held together by repetition rather than force. This peaceful history for sleep is built from countless ordinary nights, each one similar enough to erase the need for vigilance. Time loosens. Hours blend. The distinction between yesterday and tomorrow softens. Even memory relaxes. You are not asked to follow a timeline. You are invited to remain within a sensation. In this sensation, the empire feels less like a structure and more like an environment, something you inhabit without thinking about it. Governance continues quietly in the background. Messages travel along roads. Taxes are collected. Laws are upheld. But none of this reaches the surface of daily awareness. People measure their days by light and weather, not by decree. The empire's strength shows itself in what does not happen. No alarms, no sudden changes, no interruptions to sleep. As you listen, your own mind mirrors this state. Thoughts appear, then drift away before forming edges. Attention softens. The need to understand dissolves. This is deep sleep history doing its work, where continuity replaces narrative. Night after night, the same pattern holds. Lamps burn low and steady. Shadows remain still. The sound of water, of wind, of distant movement continues without variation. Even when clouds cross the sky, even when seasons turn, the underlying calm remains intact. Pax Romana stretches time outward, making it feel wide and unpressured. The future does not rush toward the present, it waits, and in that waiting, rest deepens. You are not separate from this rhythm, you are part of it. Breath aligns with the slow turning of wheels, with the gentle settling of houses into darkness. The empire no longer needs to be described, it is felt. It surrounds without demanding attention.
Relaxing background audio could not be more precise than this steady blend of small sounds that never rise or fall dramatically. The night holds everything in balance, and as this balance continues, sleep becomes the most natural response, not an escape, but an alignment with a world that has learned how to remain still for a very long time.
At this point in the night, peace no longer feels like an idea or a policy. It feels physical. It has weight, texture, rhythm. Pax Romana is no longer something you observe from a distance. It surrounds you, settles into you, slows you. The empire breathes evenly now, and you breathe with it. There is no anticipation of change, no sense of approaching disruption. Time stretches wide and calm, like a still body of water reflecting stars that do not move. Across the Roman world, the same quiet scenes repeat without effort. A lamp burns low until dawn, then is extinguished without thought. A door opens in the morning, closes again at night. Footsteps follow the same paths day after day until the ground itself seems to remember them. This is Pax Romana explained as habit rather than history. Peace has become the default setting of life. Even the idea of conflict feels distant, abstract, belonging to another era entirely. The roads remain open. Ships cross the Mediterranean without fear. Messages travel slowly, deliberately, without urgency. Nothing needs to be rushed. Nothing needs to be announced. This is peaceful history for sleep at its deepest, where the mind does not follow events but sinks into continuity. Pax Romana becomes less like a chapter in a book and more like the background hum of existence, steady enough to disappear. Even Rome itself feels distant now, reduced to a glow on the horizon, a memory of light rather than a source. The empire holds together not by force, but by repetition so gentle it feels like stillness. You do not need to stay awake for this. Nothing here will surprise you. Nothing will change suddenly. The peace does not end. It simply continues, long enough that ending no longer matters. Relaxing background audio fades naturally into the rhythm of breath, into the soft cycle of night and day that no longer needs narration. And as this chapter closes, Pax Romana does not conclude with a final note. It remains, like sleep itself, carrying you quietly forward, holding you in a calm that feels endless, where history pauses not because it stops, but because it has learned how to rest. There is no moment you can point to and say, this is when the empire began to fall. No sound announces it. No wall collapses in the night. Instead, change arrives quietly, in pieces so small they feel almost imaginary. After the long calm of Pax Romana, the Roman world does not wake to chaos. It simply grows heavier. Generations pass, and with them, emperors rise and fade. Some rule with clarity, some with confusion, others barely leaving a trace at all. From a distance, it looks like motion. From close by, it feels like repetition. Names change, numbers change, dates move forward, but nights remain the same. Lamps are lit, doors are closed, people sleep. This is the fall of the Roman Empire not as collapse, but as drift. Borders stretch farther than attention can reach. Armies stand at the edges of the world, far from the streets that named them. Messages travel more slowly. Decisions take longer to matter. The empire does not crack loudly, it strains softly. You sense this strain only if you listen closely, and even then it blends into the background of daily life. Reforms are announced, taxes adjusted, laws rewritten. Each one feels manageable on its own. Together, they form a weight that presses gently, steadily, without urgency. This is slow history narration in its purest form, where decline feels less like loss and more like fatigue. Cities at the margins begin to feel distant from the center, not abandoned, just far away. Roads still connect them, but the feeling of closeness thins. Soldiers remain stationed, but their presence feels routine rather than reassuring. And yet, when night comes, none of this interrupts sleep. Families eat together, children grow tired, fires burn low. The world continues its small rituals. If you were listening from the edge of sleep, all of this passes like text on a page, too dense to read closely, too steady to alarm. One reform follows another. One campaign echoes a previous one. The repetition dulls urgency. Even division approaches quietly. When the empire begins to separate into east and west, it does not feel like a break, it feels like an adjustment. Administration changes, authority shifts slightly, but the night remains calm. People do not dream of borders, they dream of rest. This sleepy history lesson is not about dates or battles, it is about continuity under pressure. The cracks appear, but they are narrow, hairline fractures spreading so slowly they seem harmless. You feel no need to stay awake for them. Soft-spoken history lives here, where transformation happens beneath the threshold of attention. As you listen, your mind mirrors this process. Thoughts loosen, focus softens, the effort to follow dissolves. The empire's slow unraveling does not demand awareness, it allows sleep. And in that allowance, history continues its quiet work, reshaping itself while the world rests, one small, nearly silent change at a time. By the time the empire is spoken of as two halves, nothing feels broken. There is no tearing sound, no sudden darkness. The Roman world simply stretches, and in stretching grows thinner. East and West take shape not as enemies, but as distances. Administration shifts. Authority settles closer to where it is needed. From the perspective of those living their daily lives, this division is almost theoretical. It exists in documents, in titles, in maps rarely seen by ordinary eyes. Nights continue unchanged. Lamps still glow behind familiar windows. People still eat, rest, and sleep in the same order they always have. This is the fall of the Roman Empire experienced from within sleep, where large movements occur beyond awareness. In the West, cities feel the weight of distance more keenly. Roads remain, but maintenance slows. Messages arrive later. The sense of being held by something vast softens. In the East, structures remain firmer, rhythms steadier. But even there, the world feels heavier than before. Not fragile, just tired. This slow history narration where separation feels like a long exhale rather than a sharp break. The empire does not disappear, it redistributes itself. Power does not vanish, it relocates. And still, none of this interrupts the night. Families close their doors. Fires burn low. Sleep arrives as it always has. If you are listening now, near the edge of rest, these changes pass like distant weather, noticed only faintly, if at all. One city loses prominence, another gains it. One border weakens, another stabilizes. The pattern repeats, gently, without urgency. Even invasions, when they come, arrive first as rumors, then as adjustments. Life adapts quietly. This sleepy history lesson is not about the drama of collapse, but about endurance under slow strain. The cracks widen slightly, but never enough to demand alarm. People do not fall asleep thinking of empires. They fall asleep thinking of morning. The Roman world continues to function, imperfectly, unevenly, but continuously. East and West grow more distinct, but not hostile. They simply drift into different rhythms, different centers of gravity. And beneath all of this, the most constant element remains the same: night. Darkness still brings rest. Breath still slows. The human body does not register geopolitical change. It responds to fatigue, to routine, to the familiar. Soft-spoken history lives in this space, where the end of an era feels less like an ending and more like a gradual dimming of attention. As this chapter closes, the empire has not fallen in the way stories often suggest. It has thinned, stretched, and settled into new shapes. And through it all, sleep remains untouched, steady and kind, carrying individuals through changes too large and slow to disturb their rest. History continues its quiet rearrangement, and you remain at ease, knowing that even as worlds shift, the night still knows how to hold you. There is no final sound that marks the end of the Western Roman Empire. No bell rings, no wall collapses in the night. When the last page turns, it does so quietly, almost politely, as if careful not to disturb anyone who has already begun to drift toward sleep. In the year 476, a young emperor is removed from power, and later generations will circle this date in books and timelines, calling it a fall. But for those who lived through that day, nothing felt like an ending. The sun rose as it always had. Fires were lit, meals were shared. Night came and sleep followed. Rome did not disappear, it softened. It spread outward, dissolving gently into the world around it. The structures that once held the empire together loosened, but they did not vanish. Roads remained beneath the soil. Stones stayed where they had been placed. Letters continued to shape words. Laws echoed forward, carried quietly into new kingdoms, new languages, new rhythms of life. This ancient Rome sleep story does not close with silence, but with continuation. What ended was not Rome itself, but Rome as a single center. What remained was influence, memory, habit. The empire became background rather than foreground, like a melody that no longer demands attention, but still shapes the mood of everything that follows. As centuries pass, people walk Roman roads without knowing their names. They live beneath arches without knowing who designed them. They speak words shaped by Latin sounds, write letters formed by Roman hands, live by ideas first tested in distant forums now long quiet. This is the entire history to fall asleep, not as a dramatic arc, but as a gentle release. The weight of centuries lifts gradually, allowing the present to settle comfortably on top of the past. In the darkness of your room, the same process unfolds. You lie still, breath slows, muscles soften. You have traveled through thousands of years, but your body asks only for rest. Timeless murmurs continue beneath awareness, the soft hum of history that no longer needs to be understood to be felt. The empire's legacy does not announce itself. It exists in proportions, in patterns, in the way spaces feel stable and familiar. Rome survives not as a place, but as a quiet agreement between generations. Calm History Podcast becomes indistinguishable from calm itself, as narrative blends into breath, and breath blends into sleep. Imagine now that you are walking along an old Roman road at dusk. No one else is there. The stones are worn smooth by time, comfortable underfoot. The sky deepens into purple and blue. Wind moves lightly, without urgency. Each step matches a breath. In the distance, there is no city, no destination to reach. Only the road, stretching forward into darkness that feels welcoming rather than unknown. This is sleep meditation with history, where the past guides you gently toward rest, not by instruction, but by presence. The road does not hurry you. It does not ask anything of you. It simply exists, steady and kind, carrying you forward as your awareness fades, holding you until even the idea of history dissolves and only sleep remains.
Now there is nothing left to explain, no timeline to follow, no empire to measure. History has finished speaking, and what remains is only its echo, soft enough to blend into the quiet of the night. The Roman road beneath your feet grows darker, smoother, older, until it no longer feels like a road at all, but a gentle direction forward. You are no longer walking through centuries. The centuries are walking past you, slowly, without urgency, without weight. Rome has become memory, and memory has become atmosphere. You do not need to hold on to it. You do not need to remember names, dates, or endings. Everything that needed to remain has already settled into the world and into you. The past no longer asks for attention. It rests. As you breathe in, the air feels cool and steady. As you breathe out, it feels longer, softer. Each breath loosens the final threads of awareness. The stones of the road fade beneath your steps. The sky above darkens into a single calm shade. There is no horizon now, no distance to cross, only stillness. Ancient Rome's sleep story dissolves here, not into silence, but into something gentler than silence, a quiet that feels full rather than empty. Entire history to fall asleep completes itself by letting go. The centuries do not end, they simply stop being separate. Timeless murmurs continue beneath the surface, indistinct and comforting, like the sound of wind far away or water moving slowly in the dark. Calm History Podcast becomes nothing more than calm. Words soften until they no longer form sentences. Meaning loosens until it no longer needs shape. You are no longer listening, you are resting. Sleep meditation with history reaches its final purpose here, not to teach, not to inform, but to guide you into complete ease. Your body is heavy now, supported, still. Your mind drifts without direction, without effort. If images appear, they fade gently. If thoughts arise, they pass without attachment. There is nothing left to follow, no next chapter, no further path. The road has done its work. It does not lead to a city. It does not lead to a future. It leads only into rest. The night holds you without expectation. History no longer moves forward. It lies quietly behind you, like footprints in sand already smoothed by time. You are safe here. The world is quiet. Breath continues on its own. Sleep arrives not as an event, but as a natural state you are already entering. And as awareness fades, the last thing to remain is not Rome, not history, not story, but comfort. Deep, steady, uninterrupted rest.